What's up, everybody? Here we are, and this is the Midweek Report here on September 22nd, 2021. And we got like a few things that we're going to go over and go down with, man. There's been a lot of talk that's been going on over the past few days. When you had the press conference for Deontay Wilder. He had a virtual press conference that was about a few hours ago, where he talked about a few things when it came to his upcoming fight against Tyson Fury. That's will be on October 9th. Um, and we also, of course, got a few things coming up with the Anthony Joshua-Alexander-Usyk fight for the unified heavyweight titles. And we did hear some news about the fight between Terrence Crawford and Sean Porter. Sean Porter did speak about it at length during his podcast, the Porterway podcast. So we're going to go on that a little bit as well, and of course, the little scuffle between Caleb-Plant and Saul Canelo Alvarez yesterday for their press conference that was like held around Los Angeles or whatnot. So I mean, there's a good number of things to talk about. It's been a very busy past few days here for the sport of boxing as action is starting to pick up a little bit. We didn't necessarily have much action over the previous few weeks, but things are definitely picking up. Like I said, you got this thing with Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk coming up this Saturday. In a couple weeks, you're going to have Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. You're also going to have the thing with the like 2 weeks after that, you're gonna have the WBO super featherweight title on the line in Atlanta. Jamel Herring versus Shakur Stevenson. Like I said, you're gonna have Canelo-Plant. That's gonna be on November, and then also you do have the Terrence Crawford versus Sean Porter fight that's going to be in November as well, man. So it's going to be a lot of action, a lot of action to look forward to in the sport of boxing. But wanted to get back into main topic that is the confrontation with Canelo Alvarez and Caleb-Plant. Of course, they had the press conference, they had the face-off. Caleb-Plant was saying something, and Canelo Alvarez ended up pushing him. Caleb-Plant stepped back to him, and then give him a little bit of a slap, bam. And Canelo retaliated. Was a little bit of a scuffle that went down back and forth between Canelo and Caleb-Plant before they were separated, and then the press conference did start. So you did have a little bit of fireworks there in that first or initial press conference that is for Canelo Alvarez and Caleb-Plant. And seems like, over the past 24 hours or so, a lot of people are, talking about what Caleb-Plant was talking about, addressing Canelo Alvarez, addressing his trainer, Eddie Reynoso, and addressing the camp of Canelo, Team Canelo, or Canelo Team, as they say. You got this whole thing where, he addressed the whole thing that was, with Oscar Valdez, how, he had his fight recently. Him as the WBC super featherweight champion. He got tested positive for, illegal substance, and they said it was due to him drinking weight loss tea. But Caleb-Plant kind of like addressed that and said, like the whole camp be questionable. Of course, we've seen his tweets a couple weeks ago when he did react to that news. And he basically, called them out and said that they're all frauds. Said that, they ain't, really doing much of nothing. Um, that they have to use some type of a substance in order to, gain an advantage, and that, he doesn't want to, necessarily see that type of stuff in the sport of boxing. And so he, addressed it directly with Canelo Alvarez. He, addressed it with Eddie Reynoso, who was also there, and Canelo was really, 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 really offended by it. You kind of seen Canelo in a the element that he necessarily hasn't been at, one point of his professional career. Some people say that this is like, oh, this is like a brand new Canelo. This is a Canelo that, nobody has really seen before, that type of thing. And I'm like, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a better Canelo. You know what I mean? Um, I think that is something that's happening where you got him trying to be more of like a bad guy, and I don't know if that necessarily works for him. Shout out to those that are on here live. If you wanted to jump in here a little bit, have the link posted, links posted there, and we could chop it up in reference to the whole thing with that Canelo-Plant press conference. We had a whole joint where um, I just felt like Caleb Plant really came in there and just showed that he ain't there to back down to no Canelo Alvarez. Of course, Canelo Alvarez is posed as like the superstar of boxing, that he's, what, top pound for pound fighters in the sport. But Caleb Plant has basically held this stuff for a long time. He, what he was saying in reference to how the fight was originally delayed. He was like, man, I done made all of these concessions and waited for Canelo to do this and do that. And then now they want to delay it again. And that's where the whole thing kind of like sparked up in reference to uh, the questions about Canelo maybe using illegal substances. Want to have one contributor here jump on to this live discussion here on the Midweek Report. Lefty checking in. What's going on?
What's up, man? That press
Uh,
conference was great yesterday.
oh, it was great, man. I know that folks was hyped up. They seen what was going down and everything like that, man. And
I
Caleb
didn't I
Plant
didn't know they
gave,
had beef like that. I didn't know they had beef like that. Did you?
yeah, yeah.
I-
Um, I mean, going to, what I was saying, man. The fight was originally scheduled to, happen. What was it supposed to be last weekend, actually?
Yep,
Um,
last weekend. Yep.
yeah. So when it got rescheduled, and it was pretty much like no one can really figure out, why it would have been rescheduled. That's when Caleb Plant was like, man, yeah, something's up, cause man, I done got myself ready. Um, tried to figure out what the date was going to be. They pretty much knew what it would be, and I done waited for Canelo. He done had his wedding. He done had golf tournaments or golf appearances with Stephen Curry or whatever it is, and now you had the fight being pushed back. And I'm like, he's like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So had like a whole lot of questions that he brought up and it just came all out into a head yesterday. Adding in another contributor here. Shout out to YSM Sports Media from Philly, man. What's good with you?
Hey, so he pushed me, then I walked up, and then I smacked him, and I told him I'm Rick James.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Yo, if if there was any worry that that pay per view wasn't going to sell, it's going now. Oh, that shit is selling because some people was like, oh, that was fake, that was staged. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't staged.
He finally he finally, well, not finally, because he came up against somebody recently that doesn't care. That's not Rocky Fielding. That's not Danny Jacobs, because Danny Jacobs doesn't always come to win. That's not Callum Smith, and that's not Billy Joe. You're dealing with a different animal. And I ain't saying Caleb's gonna beat him, but Caleb's not playing no games. Caleb's not coming in there just for a payday. He's coming in there to win.
True. Because if he was coming in there for a payday, he would have took the original offer back in, what was that, February of 2020 when they tried to give him the fight in March, and he said he's not gonna jump into a fight with Canelo.
Yeah. Hey, can I be controversial real fast, JR and Lefty?
Go ahead.
All right, so we have to acknowledge one thing, right? This is America. And for a lot of fans that's just thinking that it's going to be your normal Canelo if it goes to the scorecards really wide for Canelo, not this time. And what dudes need to just come to grips with, Canelo-Plant's white. And he's a cool white. So you got a white guy who's ingratiated with the hip hop community. You got a white guy that black guys love, with a very slick style in a sport that needs a white superstar, a white American superstar. This could go bad for Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, he's a Paul Wall, Bubba Sparks white.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Well, hopefully that story gets out more. You know, they said CBS was going to run some promos for it. Hopefully they run like a 24/7, you know, let them tell their stories. That's really what sells, man, is telling the story.
Yeah, they got to do an all access for this.
Yeah, and individual sports like that, people latch on to people they can relate to. You know?
If it's me, I'm marketing him to the white woman. The 22-year-old, 23-year-old white girl in college. Because, you know, Caleb's not a bad looking dude. So put him into, you know, some billboards with his shirt off, tell him about the fight. You know what I mean? You need that. You need women determine who's a superstar, not men.
True.
Every superstar is known by women. Like, people be like, Canelo Alvarez is a superstar. If you walk up to the average black white woman, are they going to know who Canelo Alvarez is? No. But they know who Mike Tyson is. They know who Floyd is. They know who Conor McGregor is.
They know to a certain extent who Tank Davis is.
Yeah, black women know who Tank Davis is.
Yep.
True. And a lot of them know these younger cats like what's his name, Devin Haney, for dating these influencers.
True. That's a good point. Ryan Garcia, they know him now, like the younger girl.
Yep. And I mean, I thought it would have been something like that, you know, especially if this thing was like a Fox pay-per-view, man. But it's still, you know, PBC, and of course, you know, you got Jordan Plant there. So, you know, like I was saying before, it could have been like, you know, a Triple H type of deal. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Triple H of PBC, man. You know?
The Triple H of PBC, crazy.
Oh man, if they give Plant the benefit of the doubt on the scorecards, they're gonna go crazy. There's gonna be so many people going crazy, talking about Canelo should have never fought at PBC and Heyman don't like Mexicans and all types of stuff.
Hey, that after fight buzz would be nuts, man. I mean, hey,
they got to keep this up. They got the momentum now with that press conference. They just got to keep it up.
Yep,
keep it up all the way to the fight. Don't let people forget.
Listen to me, y'all. Al Heyman ain't pay that dude $40 million for one fight deal for him to just leave it up to chance. I'm just throwing it out there. Call me a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I mean, there could still be a few other fighters that, you know, Al could have for Canelo Alvarez after this Caleb Plant fight, but
He said that after the at the press conference yesterday. He said it could be more than one fight because there's other fighters. Cause I mean, come on, who do we want him to? Who do we want to see Canelo fight? Plant,
Benavidez.
obviously.
It's
Benavidez,
four guys
Charlo.
that PBC got.
Yeah, nobody
Plant,
cares about him
Benavidez,
fighting. You know, I
Charlo.
like Bivol. I like Bivol as a fighter. Don't get me wrong. I think Bivol is the best at 175, but I don't really want to see him fight Canelo.
I
Man,
want to see David Morrell.
yeah.
He's on his way up. Everybody who the paying public wants to see him fight is with PBC. So unless you want to take an easy fight for good money, then he can go fight somebody at his own.
Yeah. Well, if you want to say easy money, then he could go ahead and fight Dimitri Bivol, man. But like I've said for a while,
Like YSN was saying though, what I also noticed that too. YSN, you remember when he was about to fight Billy Joe Saunders, in the week of the fight, Canelo he didn't have that animosity towards Billy Joe Saunders. In the week of the fight, what was Billy Joe complaining about all week? He complained more
the ring
about his
size
promoter than he did about Canelo. His energy wasn't focused towards Canelo, it was focused towards Eddie Hearn. Whereas Plant's energy is focused strictly on Canelo.
Yeah, and you really hadn't seen Canelo's energy be like this, this far away from a fight. With the exception maybe the second Golovkin fight, because of how long they were saying like it took for that fight to become official. But outside of that, you really hadn't seen this type of energy from Canelo against an opponent. But that's because Plant gave that energy out to him. He said, "Listen, I ain't gonna back down from you. I ain't one of these other, guys that
He ain't
like I
Charlo.
was saying, that'll come in and just get a check and be good with it.
Yeah.
He's coming there to fight and he's coming there to win. And we're saying from a skill standpoint, this is probably the best matchup that Canelo has had since Erislandy Lara, maybe. And like I said, well, you got a guy that's tall, that's mobile, fast with his hands, could get in and out of the pocket. That's going to be something for Canelo to deal with, man.
And Young, this is the first time. Well, if you want to count Alvaro Yildirim, then you can count that. But Canelo hasn't fought anybody younger than him since, other than Alvaro Yildirim, that I can remember.
Yeah.
This is a prime, natural super middleweight in his prime, and younger than Canelo. This is going to be a good fight. I still got Canelo for the win, but this is going to be a good fight. I think he should get more credit for it than what people are trying to give him. People think, a lot of people are trying to compare him to Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe was never super middleweight. And Callum Smith was one foot out the door super middleweight. He was just holding on, making that last weight cut for Canelo.
Yep.
He looked like shit in the Ryder fight. And
Bro,
you see his next fight is at 175. So he was just making that last cut for that check.
But bro, right? So Callum Smith, like John Ryder, is a super, super, super poor man's Canelo Alvarez. But as soon as Canelo saw that, now all of a sudden the Callum Smith fight got made. Because you see what he can't handle. And what he can't handle is exactly what I do well. It's a cakewalk. I didn't know Canelo-Plant was an Olympic ultimate. So he has a hell of a pedigree. He just hasn't had the fights at the professional level that will make him, more glamorous.
Yeah, nothing that would have had him stand out. Only thing they kind of said was when he initially won the belt, from Jose Usyk. That's been basically his biggest fight.
Yep. And they showcased him a couple other fights, but I think he's gonna fight the fight of his life. It's gonna be a lot closer than a lot of people think. But he's gonna fight the fight of his life.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
Yep.
And I just think that with this thing with Canelo, he's gonna be mentally, off a bit. Yeah, I think he's going to be mentally off a bit because of what's been happening. So
He said,
that'll
which
give,
was so surprising, was he said what Stephen Espinoza said. Canelo told him that he's hated this guy more than any other guy he's ever fought, more than Golovkin, even more than Golovkin, which is kind of
And
strange to me. They
Golovkin
don't,
said way worse stuff than this.
yeah, and they don't
yeah,
have that history like him and Golovkin had. This is, like I said, I was surprised. I was sitting here watching the press conference. I seen the face off. I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, they started fighting. I'm like, oh shit.
yeah, man. Like he was like looking at Plant like, man, I really don't like this dude. I was like, come on, man.
I think it's because of Caleb doesn't care. Like the other guys wanted a Canelo fight so bad that they were willing to acquiesce to any and everything.
Yeah, like
And
they,
the one factor I kept telling people that this was going to be different is because he's white. He doesn't need, like, bro, boxing needs Caleb Plant more than Caleb Plant needs boxing. It sounds crazy, but it's the truth.
It's another guy I know saying that this guy named Donnie has been saying the same thing for a while.
Caleb Plant can effectively take boxing to the next level. It's because the majority of the United States does not have somebody that they can relate to. And everybody wants to see somebody that's of their ilk, of their culture on TV in a particular sport that they're watching.
Yeah.
yeah,
But have the whites latched on to him like that though. I think just because he's like as they would call him, he's a wigger, So have they really latched on to him like that?
Yeah, that's the question. Because I would think that he would be the one guy that could, bring that young crowd, the quote unquote MMA crowd, over to boxing. He would have the charisma, the swag and all of that. And he could bring that younger crowd out, the 20 to 35 crowd that usually gravitates toward MMA. And he could just have that same type of, following. I think that's what they're trying to see if they could try to get with Caleb Plant.
The only white dude that gets more love from the hood than Caleb Plant is Tommy from Power.
Is who?
It's Tommy from Power.
Oh, I never watched the show. What are you talking about?
Caleb Plant got the streets, yo.
We gonna see. It's gonna be a good fight. I think it's gonna be a hell of a fight. I think if people are underestimating Plant, I don't think he'll win, but I think he's gonna push. He's gonna push him. Something has to be said for his youth. And Caleb Plant is dedicated to his sport. He's not out of shape. He's not, like you said, just coming for a paycheck. He takes boxing very, very seriously. If not, he would have jumped at the first chance to fight Canelo that he could back when he was coming off that finger butts fight and Oscar De La Hoya offered him the fight, if he was desperate.
Yeah,
you said figgy butts?
Yeah, you remember after that fight, they said Oscar tried to get Canelo to fight him. Tried to offer him a fight with Canelo. He said, no, I'm not. He said, I'm not going to jump into that fight. I just had a fight. I need to have my camp. I'm not going straight into May. And everybody's like, oh, you stupid. You should take the chance. It's a Canelo fight, But he felt like he didn't need it.
Man, Caleb thinks he's a bull. Like, I don't know about Colin. I don't know about Billy, but Caleb really believes he's that guy. And Canelo's really mad. And when you try to fight a boxer, when you're really mad, now Canelo's a better fighter, eye test and accolades. And when you try to fight a boxer mad, especially a boxer that wants you to come throw some wild heavy shit, that might not bode well. Canelo needs to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna have to, refocus himself. But the thing about it is, like you said, he's upset. Caleb Plant got him mad. He got Eddie Reynoso mad. They probably changing up their camp now and try to say, oh, we're gonna just beat this guy to a pulp. Like you said, Mike, it's like, man, I'm gonna kick your ass or something.
Hey, hey, Lefty. Hey, Jack. What had
Yeah,
me laughing is the excuse that Canelo used for being so mad. Don't talk about my mother. You called him a MFer. You called Andre the MFer. That's your favorite phrase. Nah, bro, you was mad because he was talking that PED stuff, and you had no.
Oh, and you were breaking up. Oh shoot, yo, I don't know what the yeah, we didn't quite hear you right there.
Oh, what was the last thing you heard?
Like the whole thing about Plant talking about the whole PD stuff.
Yeah, so essentially, he wasn't mad at him saying MFer because that's all Canelo does is say MF for this, MF for that. He was mad because he called him out on PBs and Canelo had no rebuttal, but don't make excuses before the fight. So, bro, it's not an excuse. It's a fact. You tested hot. You're a cheater. You've cheated, right? And Eddie Reynoso wants to make it seem like, oh, you hating on Mexico. No, he ain't hating on Mexico. He just hating on y'all. He talking about y'all kid, not Mexico. Y'all.
Yep. Cause Plant pointed out like the whole thing with like I was saying with
Valdez.
Valdez. It's like Valdez gets popped and he don't get suspended. Like you got popped, you got suspended. Like what are y'all doing over there? You know? Yeah, and I think that that just puts a different type of microscope on the on that Canelo team, you know, and yeah, I think that's gonna really affect how these last few days of preparation are gonna be for Canelo Alvarez in his upcoming fight against Canelo-Plant. Man, that stuff's gonna be of it'll be like y'all say, man, it's gonna be a good little scrap.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. They had me hyped. They had me hyped. I don't know what Canelo felt. Well, let me say this. He only pushed him because his hands was behind his back. I ain't saying Canelo a punk, but it
Yeah.
was evident that Caleb's hands was behind his back, and that push, like he got a lot of umph behind it. I didn't even think that Caleb landed at first till I seen the picture.
Yeah.
Canelo was really good at rolling with the shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about Canelo. He knows how to roll with some punches, man. But shoot, that had folks going crazy when they had that scuffle, man, and you had like other people talking about it. Had freaking Dana White talking about it, and that's the type of buzz that they would need for this thing, man. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a real good pay-per-view once it comes up here on November, man. Um, Wanted to get up to the they had like a virtual press conference there with Deontay Wilder today. Was trying to do something with it, but man, I really don't like this whole thing with StreamYard and Zoom. I'm gonna just tell y'all that right now, because that
did you ever get it working? I tapped in for a minute, but I couldn't hear the audio, so
yeah, I mean, I got it working, but it like the audio quality wasn't like very good at all, and so I ended up just scrapping it. So, but Wilder's out there. He's feeling good. He's his demeanor is like very very jovial. Like he was saying in the PBC podcast that, he's a reinvented fighter, rejuvenated, and everything like that. And that, he said like the delay was, a blessing to him, and that, he just used that delay to work more on his skill set and things like that, and developing, new tools there. So he feels that he is definitely ready there for Tyson Fury come October 9th. Um, I didn't really like hear anyone say something about like what Matt brought up at one point when he said that Malik has Deontay Wilder bulking up a little bit, and that he could be around 230 to 235 come fight night. And then that could be a
That's
little
a
bit of
mistake.
a difference, you know?
235. That's a
Yeah,
mistake. Man.
yeah.
If you fight at 225, fight at 225. Unless 235 would let me believe he's going to come forward.
I think that would be the strategy there. That's what I'm seeing. If you're gonna come in at 230, 235, you're looking to come forward,
Yeah.
and try to, I would say like bite down on your mouthpiece and just
Mhm.
go at it, balls to the wall. You know what I'm saying?
He would
'Cause,
scare me as a body puncher, though, bro.
hmm. But that's the thing. I think he's working on that form to become a body puncher. Especially like if you're gonna counter to the body, then you could, duck down under Fury's punch and then come in with a left hook to the body or something like that. But I think he also needs to just stay active, throw punches whenever you could throw punches, even in a clinch, throw punches. I think that's one of the most important things that he would have to do is in a clinch, don't get yourself tied up, either push out of it or throw punches. If you're gonna throw, especially if you could throw punches, because if you throw punches to send a message that if you're gonna come in and you're gonna try to, clinch, I'm gonna make you pay for that. I'm gonna make you
Mhm.
think twice about it.
Yeah. And Fury's not really a crisp puncher. So he can't, I don't see him really making Wilder pay. Like it's not, he's going to be some Floyd stuff where it's just a really sharp shot
Yeah,
down the middle that's going to make you think twice.
yeah. And the thing with Fury is he's more of a quote unquote unorthodox pace fighter in that he'll do a lot of feints. He'll, stutter step. He'll try to move in and out with his head and all types of things. So don't worry about trying to focus on timing them. Just throw punches. Like one way or another, it's going to land. You know. So if you just keep doing that and just have yourself pace well, then you will be able to do something. But hopefully he doesn't like try to overexert himself early, because with that added weight, yeah, you're gonna have issues with stamina come the latter half of the fight, especially if you're not used to carrying that weight.
Yeah.
Did you hear what AJ said? Who he picked for Wilder versus Fury?
Wilder by knockout.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to make sure you heard that.
Whoa.
Yeah, you said Wilder by knockout.
I feel like everybody, if you're not biased, you recognize exactly what you're watching. One guy that really doesn't want to fight. You watching one guy with revenge on his mind, and people said that he couldn't learn the certain nuances that it would take to be Fury in only like 5 or 6 months. But now it's been 2 years, almost 2 years. So I got Wilder stopping him early.
Yeah, it's like either folks say that it's gonna end within 5 rounds, or it's gonna like go pretty much around like 8 or 9. You know, um, I'm just like, yeah, looking to see if Wilder is going to, kind of like I said, bite down on his gum shield, and kind of like be confident that can Fury really hurt me, because in the first fight, you had Fury kind of like throwing off the timing of Deontay Wilder in that first half of the fight. But he just, kind of like adjusted himself, got a little bit more patient, and just waited to see if he'll be close enough to be at least mid range. And once he was mid range, then he started throwing hooks, you know. And I think that's the thing that kind of like had him, really getting back into that particular fight in the first fight. But in the second fight, that kind of like got off of what happened in the 12th round, where Fury was on his lead foot and had Wilder, not being used to going backwards. He just used that to, use that momentum to try to overwhelm him in the second fight. But here in the third, if you're gonna have, a little bit more weight, so that if Fury tries to put his weight on him, that he could do something to push him off, then, like I said, you do that and you throw punches, then you could, eventually wear down Fury. It's about making Fury pay, and that's the thing about it. Like, if Fury makes a mistake, you got to make him pay for it. Don't let him get away with it. So that's what I think. Has a lot people more confident that Deontay Wilder could have the advantage in this fight coming up on October 9th.
Did you see what he said? Did you see what he said about the vaccine?
Oh, who, Wilder? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, man! Come on, man.
I'm just saying he made a lot of sense. All he said was he talked to his doctor, listened to his doctor, the expert, and he decided to do it. Him and his team. That's all.
Yep. Well, that's his doctor. Hey, that's it. That's what he wanted to do. Then that's what he wanted to do. That's that. All right. I'll just put it at that.
He didn't talk to Patriot Mom from Facebook. He talked to his doctor.
Yeah, but there's other doctors that people talk to, and they say that they shouldn't really take the vaccine. So
everybody say, talk to your doctor. Just talk to your doctor.
Just talk to your doctor. That's it. Yeah. Other thing that I wanted to jump on too was, more people talking about Crawford Porter, man. Like, yo, I don't care, man. I'm going to that fight. Somehow, some way, I'm trying to go to that goddamn fight, man.
You got to tell me where we going to, JR. I don't know if we're going to Atlanta. I don't know if we're going to Vegas. I don't know.
That's the fight they should have put in Atlanta instead of the Herring Shakur fight.
Shakur fight, yeah.
True.
True. But I don't know what it was.
At the Waffle House every night. Yeah. Let's get it.
I don't know, they be doing some stupid stuff sometimes when it comes to their melanin audience. Top Rank still ain't figured it out.
I don't know if Top Rank still ain't figured it out, or if they want to figure it out.
That's
yeah.
They're trying to duplicate what Floyd did. They're trying to duplicate what Floyd did with Tank, with Shakur, putting Shakur down there because they seen Tank is having a lot of success in Atlanta. Because wasn't nobody trying to do cards in Atlanta until Floyd started doing it.
But you know who I think that is? I think that's James Prince. That's not necessarily Bob Arum. That's James Prince doing that. Mm-hmm. He thinks Shakur is his Tank,
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not.
No, we know he's not.
Yeah.
But you see how he do him. He got him down in Houston. He got him now. He's speaking more. He trying to act more street. Like he came from. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who listens, so I don't know if it's white people listening to want to say it. But,
he's definitely like Shakur's definitely from the hood. Right?
Yeah, but you know what you could be from the hood like me. I'm from the hood, but I ain't hood. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I'm from Detroit, but I'm not. Nigga, I wasn't locked up. I ain't been locked up. I mean, I've been locked up over a couple weekends, but I ain't never been to prison. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't constantly in, doing dumb, in trouble, shit like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just don't. I don't get how you have this type of marketing strategy to host these fights in these places that, you're trying to see if you can get big crowds, and like they could just flip it, man. Why don't you could have had Herring Stevenson in Las Vegas over at that Virgin Hotels or whatever it was, and have Porter Crawford over in Atlanta.
JR, I disagree, right? Not that Porter Crawford shouldn't be in Atlanta, because he should be in Atlanta.
Right.
But it's the fact that we got to, these promoters have to stop being lazy. And, the lazy thing is, California, what is it, Carson, California, Las Vegas, San Antonio, and New York. That's it. Those are the only
Yeah.
places they get
I
fights.
mean,
There are other major cities.
Lennox
with big
Lewis and
populations.
Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson was in
Was it
Tennessee,
Memphis.
right?
Memphis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, way bigger fights. So
Yeah,
they
so
got to stop being lazy.
it's like start looking at other areas, other demographics. It's like Philly wants some fights. Can we get Boots in Philly? Can we get Danny Garcia
Nope.
in Philly?
Nope.
We talked about that. We talked about that one time. What was the reason? It was something with the venues in Philly. Is it? I think they didn't have a medium sized venue that was, and
We
it's
do have a
expensive.
we do have
No,
a
no,
medium
they
size.
were saying that the fee that they was taking. I
Oh,
had to
maybe it could be. All right, so
give me
the
one
venues
second.
in Philly, the venues in Philly go like this. We have the Wells Fargo. That's where the Flyers and the Sixers play. Right. Then we got the Learcore Center. That's where Temple University plays.
Yeah,
And then we got 2300 Arena. That's like really, really small local shows.
yeah.
But
Okay.
like
It was 100. I've heard 100,000 is paid to the promoters for events that aren't in arenas. So the venue makes the takes everything from the gate concessions until that money is recouped. Yeah, so I heard it was a venue issue. Somebody that I was talking to about it told me it was more of the way the venues do business than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Philly, so there's a good chance that it's jacked up. That's a lot of you. But I would like to see. I would like to see. Shit, Jr. You give me some shows in DC. You don't throw shows at the Armory no more.
Nah, definitely not the Armory no more, man. That hot box they got over there, no. They just doing things in MGM Grand Garden, Grand Garden Arena, the MGM National Harbor, and they got
I'll take that.
something coming up. Where they're gonna have like I think it's like the convention center. Is like they used to have it in the that Washington Convention Center. That's where that Con Peterson fight was. You know what I mean? They got like a sports arena, entertainment and sports arena that they're gonna have something on October 29th. So I mean, they got like a couple venues, but they ain't using stuff like the Verizon Center or nothing like that. You know, so
Yeah, well, yeah, 'cause I remember they was having a lot of didn't Broner fight at the Armory.
Armory, yeah,
Yeah,
he fought
and Lomachenko fought at MGM Harbor,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lomachenko
Broner
should be
fought
fighting in
Theophane
Philly.
in the Armory.
Lomachenko should be fighting in Philly. We have a very, very large Eastern European population. That's why they had Gavazic versus Beterbiev there.
Yeah, but they ain't really tapping into those two cities, man, for fights. And I don't understand it, but we can't just have like local fighters out there. But that's what it's seeming like, for the time being, is that they're having all these other fights where they can get stuff off site fees like Vegas, or go to, I guess, where they're more familiar with, New York, Brooklyn, or something like that. But but yeah, back to the thing with Crawford and Porter. Like Porter was talking about it, for an extended amount of time, and he was like saying, like, yeah, he is a two-time champion, and that he, loved it when he was WBC champion, but now the WBO is his favorite organization because they're the one that ordered for the fight that he, is most excited for. I guess he's the most hyped up for this particular fight than he's had with any of these other guys. And he feels like going up against Crawford is the fight that really defines what his career is going to be. Um, yeah, I think he feels like he could win this particular fight, and that his overall experience in big fights at the welterweight division is going to be the factor there. that he's aware of the skill set of Terrence Crawford. He's aware of the height and the wingspan of Terrence Crawford too. But he's like saying like, hey, you got to perform against whoever, whenever. Like it wouldn't be like the first time that he's faced somebody that has like a long wingspan or something like that. Said he still has to go out there and fight. So it's not like something where he's going to be really phased about the abilities of Terrence Crawford. He's just well aware of them. But like, what's y'all thoughts about that upcoming fight? Maybe I should hit a Bomac too. See what he thinks.
Yeah. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for that fight. That's that's up there. Really, the fights I'm more excited about. I don't know, between that fight, Herring, Shakur, well, Wilder and Fury #1, but Herring and Shakur and Bud and Crawford, Bud and Porter, like 2 and 2A. I can't wait for those two fights.
Yeah,
but I don't know. A lot of questions going to be answered. A lot of questions going to be answered. Will Bud set itself apart from the rest of 147?
No.
Or will he show that he's about on the same level as the rest of them? It's going to be interesting.
Sean Porter is just the dude that you just have a tough night with. And Bud's fans are setting themselves up just like Spence fans were. Talking about what they were going to do to Porter and what they were going to do. And then when they got in there, then when Spence got in there and it was a dog fight, and now people want to be like, oh no, well Spence fought Porter's fight. I ain't trying to hear that shit. You said he's going to knock him out.
Yep. That's what I said.
Not survive.
It's every time. Like when did Porter become this guy that just gets his ass knocked out? He done been down, but I ain't never even seen him hurt. Even when he got put down, like, he wasn't hurt. You know what I'm saying? When he got put down against Broner, he wasn't hurt. When he got put down against Earl, he wasn't hurt.
Yep. And the thing about it is especially in the welterweight division, when it comes to a high-profile fight, what high-profile fight recently has ended in a knockout or a stoppage in the welterweight division?
Yeah. Spence, Earl, and Brooke. That's about it. Yep. Where you got the top 3 of the division or top 5 of the division that ended in a knockout.
Pretty much. That's the only one that we can come up with. But all these fights that they've had, with the Thurmans, the Pacquiaos, the Porters, Spence,
Kenny Porter talked about that before the Spence fight. He said when you get to this level, you're not going to see as many knockouts because it's so little that separates each guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, Crawford got to prepare himself for a definite war here, and I think with that being the case, he's going to see how he's going to end up with this one. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a dogfight, and this is one that I'm definitely looking forward to, man. Like I said, I like one way or another, man. I'm gonna try to figure out how to get to that fight, because that's one fight that I definitely would want to see there. So you do have that. Anything else here jumping off? I know that we had the conversation a couple of days ago, Lefty, on your joint, where we talked about the whole thing with Joshua and Usyk, and I said, like, on Twitter, I said you had about 30 to 35 people in the conversation, and only 2 people probably confidently picking Usyk to win this particular fight. And
it was the British. It was 2 British people, 2 UK people, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what surprised me. That's what surprised me. I've been seeing it more from them than anybody else.
Yeah.
The ones I didn't see.
But I mean, I'm not like I just don't see it like I got Ken, man. I just don't see it. I know that Usyk does have Anatoly there with him for this particular fight in preparation. But I just think that the amount of size or the amount that he's broken up to is going to end up hurting him in the long run. where Joshua has get himself trimmed down, slimmed down a little bit, try to be more fluid with his punches, um, be better with his foot movement, and it's gonna be like it'll be a tactical battle for the time being. But once Joshua hits him hard, that's gonna be the difference, and that's gonna see what Usyk is going to do. Then is he gonna try to bite down and try to hurt Joshua too, or is he gonna try to back away and not get himself knocked out?
That I think, man, I don't know. I like I said, I was full 100% Joshua, AJ. Usyk shouldn't give him too many problems, but I've been talked into having some damn doubt, which I know I shouldn't let nobody talk me into. But I think I don't know, man, because well, first of all, Usyk hasn't really looked great at heavyweight. Number one, and number two, we haven't seen him fight as heavy as he's going to be coming into this fight.
Yeah.
So it really is a wild card situation where, because the one thing his advantage has always been his motor. Now with that extra weight, AJ leaning on him, AJ grabbing him, the bigger, stronger man leaning on him and grabbing him, that might take away with the weight plus that takes away from his number one attribute, which is his motor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his motor, his work rate, his movement. Like, I mean, he's definitely not throwing like 80, 70, 80 to 90 punches around here in the heavyweight division. This is totally different. When it comes to stamina, endurance, and also taking a shot, because you're taking shots by guys that are much bigger than you, and you have to consistently take those type of shots. So
Yeah.
I think that with him facing the two guys that he faced in Chaz Witherspoon and Derek Chisora, that doesn't necessarily prepare him for somebody like Joshua, especially with Joshua being a very fairly accurate puncher, especially with the jab. Like, he's one of the most accurate fighters when it comes to the jab in the sport of boxing. So that's something that Usyk's gonna have to deal with. I think the only thing that he has is probably going for him is that maybe Joshua still isn't quite used to fighting southpaws, because he did have some issues with Alexander Povetkin for some time before he just bit down and just blew right through Povetkin. But outside of that, it's got to be if Usyk could get himself in and out of the pocket and try to score well to where he kind of tries to frustrate Joshua. But I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. What about somebody mentioned has AJ really improved that much, or has he fought a 300-pound man and old man? Talking about Ruiz.
Yeah. With those two fights, like
Yeah.
he had his rematch with Andy Ruiz Jr. and Ruiz Jr. was much bigger in that second fight. Lot very lethargic in that fight. So it was kind of like where he just Joshua just coasted to win. And then you had the fight against Kubrat Pulev. So that's the thing with that, man. I don't know, because I think that he's kind of like had those type of abilities beforehand. It was just that he didn't necessarily feel like he had to use them. So, and someone like Andy Ruiz Jr. at his status, he really didn't have to do much there for it. So, that's kind of like that's kind of like a little different when you have that, and then you have Kubrat Pulev, who had been a contender for a while, but never really had a significant win over the course of his professional career. So you do have that.
Yeah.
You got Mike.
That great against what's that boy name who from Detroit who always come just to fight and lose? Who's the one he fought right before him? What's the boy name? He got locked up. I can't remember his name.
Oh, you mean the thing for Pulev? I thought that was that fight he had didn't like Pulev have like some type of like he was fouling the dude or something? I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, he didn't look that great. He should have got him out of there. He hung in there with him.
Oh, Booker or
Yeah, yeah, right there, Booker. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. So,
yeah.
that was after the fight I was thinking of. Um he went through 10 rounds against Rido Booker, and I'm like, yeah, he definitely wasn't that much of a didn't really have a good or impressive performance in that particular instance. And then, Joshua, like, once Joshua had hurt Pulev there in the third round, he pretty much like he was like running. He turned his back. He was like that had me laughing because he was like,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, outside of that, we'll see here like what Joshua does. I think Joshua, is trying to get himself to the point where, he wants to be around that 240 range to like have that type of fluidity and the endurance to not like really try to tire himself out in the middle rounds. Even if he, throws a lot of combinations, if he gets his fighters hurt or his opponents hurt, that if he doesn't necessarily, get the fight ended at that point, that he could, just fall back, regroup, collect himself, and then when he has the the energy that he could do it, pretty much once again. So we'll see how that type of strategy, if he uses that strategy here against Alexander Usyk come Saturday night. Mike G, checking in, man. What's going on with you?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing today?
Oh, we all good, man. All good. We was talking about the thing with Joshua and Usyk. We also covered the thing with that press conference there with Caleb-Plant and Canelo Alvarez, with Caleb-Plant getting scratched up a little bit, got a cat scratch or whatnot. Um, yeah, what was your thoughts about that press conference? If you're able to catch part of it.
So I saw bits of it. Quite naturally, I saw the push and I saw the partial slap and then the counter from Canelo with the scratch, with the two scratches. Seemed like he's scratching twice, like Catwoman or something. But yeah, man, that Caleb Plant has a sort of tick in his style to where when he tried to do that catch and counter, he doesn't. He's kind of like, I'm trying to find the words to describe this, but imagine a person like Floyd Mayweather when he does the shoulder roll and he does the catch and he counters and he transfers his weight from his back foot to his front foot. And so the reason why he's able to do that is because his weight is on his back foot. And then, it's just an easy transition to the front foot. Caleb Plant, I think his weight be on his front foot when he tries to do the catch and counter. To where when he does it, it's less of a body mechanic, like less of a what would I call it? Like just a transition of weight and more of him kind of throwing like an arm punch to counter. And it looks sort of like how when Adrian Broner does it, when Adrian Broner would be like on his back foot and then he'll counter, and the only thing that goes is his hand. His body doesn't follow him when he throw it. Caleb Plant ain't that bad, but he has sort of a counter to where he does that. But he's a lot of times on his front foot as opposed to being on his back foot, to where he can counter and do defensive to offensive moves. So I'm saying that to say what I saw from their exchange was, okay, they wasn't in the fight trying, but Caleb Plant did a little slap move, and he had pretty good distance, when he did the move, which tells me that his arm length is pretty long. But I mean, as compared to Canelo, but Canelo wasn't worried about that at all, and then he literally countered how he gonna do in the fight. with 2 shots. And the thing is, when Caleb Plant threw that shot, he went down to his right side to a spot that it appears that Canelo obviously is game planning to know that Caleb Plant goes down to that spot. So Caleb Plant threw the left hand. He went down to his little spot to the right, his little crouch spot to the right, and Canelo immediately threw his little slap counters at that spot. That doesn't bode well for Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant gonna have to be on his back foot, and hopefully he's powerful enough to throw shots to keep Canelo off balance. But if when they do stop and they do engage, it seems like Canelo doing the right thing to know where to hurt this guy. But if Caleb Plant don't have the power to keep him off him, I like Caleb Plant. I like his demeanor. You can tell he grew up around black people. You tell he was a guy who sort of, you know what I'm saying? Like he proved himself.
Bubba
Like
Sparks, man, Bubba Sparks.
Bubba Sparks, you know, like I look at Caleb Plant, and even though he's, you know, a different complexion, I can see that he can empathize. You know what I'm saying? I saw his family household. He grew up in a trailer. I ain't trying to say nothing about poverty. I'm not trying to relate that to anything. But what I do know, poverty equals struggle. Struggle equals you overcoming. And that's what I can respect about a man. The only thing is that you got Canelo Mexican beef in front of him. And so even without the Mexican beef, Canelo's still gonna be a tough out in that the game planning. Like him countering to the spot that he knew Caleb Plant would be, it makes me worry for Caleb Plant. My heart is out for Caleb Plant. I hope the game plan that they have is one that put him in the position to win it. But he got an uphill battle, man. He got an uphill battle, and he got to fix that shit where he you know, it's sort of like halfway in between on his back foot and front foot. Like it's gonna be tough. Yeah. What y'all think?
I mean, I feel like the thing with Caleb Plant, like I mean, we were saying earlier, man, Caleb Plant ain't coming there to mess around. He ain't coming there to just be thankful that he got a Canelo fight, or like I usually say that like he won the Canelo sweepstakes. Nah, he coming in there to upset the apple cart and go in there and to beat Canelo Alvarez. He ain't phased by him. He ain't scared of him. He ain't in awe of what Canelo has done. And like you were saying there in reference to the whole little scuffle that did happen, like Canelo did kind of like react on instinct, in that he usually like would see something coming, especially if like someone throws left hand, he'll like you say roll with that punch and then come right back. But I think that Caleb Plant is gonna have something to where he's gonna set a few traps for Canelo Alvarez, and it seems like he's kind of like got Canelo Alvarez bothered a little bit. You hadn't really seen Canelo really have this type of demeanor against an opponent this early. Even with the whole thing with Gennady Golovkin, like we were saying earlier, Gennady Golovkin was saying a whole lot of stuff much worse than what Caleb Plant was saying. And Canelo didn't really react like this. It's like, oh man, you can't really talk about my mother and do this and do that and like Jamil said when he was on here earlier, it wasn't really about all that. It was about Caleb Plant calling Canelo out for the PED use or whatever it was. So that's the thing that really
they pointed out that Canelo called Demetrius
Andrade.
Yeah, the same thing.
Yeah, like he was cussing out Demetrius Andrade. He was cussing out Paul Andrade. And yet, you had the same thing going on with Caleb Plant. And like some fans have said, now Canelo's trying to play victim. And that's what it seems like he was trying to do. in this particular case with Canelo-Plant. And Plant ain't like that. Like Plant's like, man, use a bitch, man. Like you doing all this stuff in the sport and use a bitch. In him calling out Canelo, him calling out Eddie Reynoso, calling out the whole camp of Canelo. So I think with that Canelo-Plant's like saying, look, you could do whatever you could try to do, but I'm here to win. I'm here to prove that I'm the best super middleweight in the world, and that you really don't have the overall skills to beat me, And the other thing that that was brought up earlier, that I kind of like found interesting was that maybe Plant could have some type of a controversial victory if this thing goes 12 rounds, because like he could be one of the guys that they could use to market for the sport. Like they could try to see if they could tap into an audience that they might not have. And I was saying it was that the 25 the 35 crowd, or the 18 to 35 crowd that usually goes or gravitates towards MMA events. So if you could get that type of crowd to come to see your fights, then you could really have somebody that's a very lucrative fighter there. You know what I'm saying? Big ups to everybody joining
Okay.
in the convo here real quick. Go ahead, Mike.
The thing is, I was about to say that as well. Caleb Plant, being white chocolate, got a lot of components that makes him very marketable in this sport. I'm comfortable with my sexuality, so I'm just gonna say this. He's a handsome guy. Um, he so guy, you know,
Hold up. Hold on, Lefty, you got what he was saying?
No, he's breaking up really bad.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can hear me?
Oh, we can now. See if you can say that again.
You, Caleb Plant, I could agree with you on this being something controversial because Caleb Plant has a lot of intangibles that make him marketable to a lot of audiences. I'm comfortable with my sexuality, so I'm gonna say this. He's a handsome guy. He's white. He's tall. So automatically he got like that that boy band, girl attraction. So he if he doesn't say anything, he gonna get that audience to where they like boy band. I'm not saying he's like a boy band, but I'm saying he's a like if somebody over 6'1", they got a square chin. He has that sort of marketability of being a handsome, tall white guy. He got the white chocolate to where he can empathize with black audiences. So he has that going for him as well too. So yeah, man, this could be one where they definitely use him to propel him, just based upon his demographics and other things that might sell for him.
Yeah, I mean he has the potential marketability to be a huge crossover star athlete here in the sport of boxing if they know how to use them right. So Plant having a victory over Canelo could really like have him skyrocket um to heights that probably few people have really seen. And when is the last time you really seen a real marketable fighter like a Canelo-Plant? The only close thing that
Fury,
we've had, well, you got Fury, but that's kind of, but not
Algeria,
necessary.
Algeria,
Oh, Chris
Algeria.
Algieri.
They was trying to push Chris Algeria until they saw that he had a plateau skill wise.
Yeah, he went that he's not that good, like you say. Um, but even like before that, maybe the closest thing could have been Kelly Pavlik, who ended up being the middleweight champ. Maybe,
Yeah, Pavlik was the real deal too.
yeah.
But you're saying when was say that again? When was the last time they pushed a white fighter?
That or no, a fighter that would be, that has been highly marketable. That is white.
Um, what was that? Damn, what was we talking about? What was that heavyweight name back in the day?
Morrison.
No, not Morrison. Right before him,
Before him. Damn. Um,
Cooney, Jerry
yeah,
Cooney.
maybe Jerry Cooney. Maybe.
Yeah, he got a lot of push. He got a lot of,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can even say Mike Lee. You remember he had Subway commercials?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Mike Lee, maybe too, but yeah, man, I kind of like had the other thing too, where I mentioned earlier that maybe Caleb-Plant could be the Triple H of PBC or something like that. Having his ties with Jordan, of course, married to Jordan, but outside of that, man,
He married to
who
He married to who?
that Jordan, Jordan that be doing the reporting outside the ring in the PBC fights.
Yeah, her first name Jordan though, right?
Huh?
Her
Yeah,
first name.
Yeah,
Jordan Plant.
yeah.
Okay, you talking about like he married to Jordan? Like you spreading rumors. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you carry on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I mean that could also, be some type of a thing that people could talk about too, but like it would be something where he would be the first fighter and since Floyd, and that was like what, goddamn 2013, almost like 8 years. It's been about 8 years since Canelo has lost a fight, basically. So that would be a big feather in the cap for Caleb-Plant to not only beat Canelo Alvarez but be the first undisputed super middleweight champion, and that could really, I feel like that could really carry him over. you know so leading into this particular fight, they could really market this. If they could market this very well, doesn't necessarily just have to be like a Showtime All Access or anything like that, but you could put them in a couple of shows here and there through the Viacom family of networks or something like that. Shoot, what if he ended up on BET or something? that would be crazy. Even though I don't watch it. But yeah, they could have a few good opportunities to push Caleb-Plant, before and after, especially if he does defeat Canelo Alvarez come November. You know, so um, yeah, I was trying to see like what else is out there, man. I'm pretty much like covered most everything that I need to cover.
Here's a so what we talked on AJ-Usyk,
Yo,
the Wilder press conference,
yep,
Canelo, and shit. What else is coming up? Tiafimo,
man.
the shit
Oh,
show that's going on with
man,
them.
I don't think they're gonna have that fight, man.
I don't either, man. I've been saying it. I've been saying this shit.
And here's one of the things. Of course you have Matt that usually does dot count report. I did a dot count report of my own when it comes to the theater at Madison Square Garden. We're about a couple weeks away from when that fight is supposed to happen, and just about every single section that's not ring level still has at least 100 tickets available in each section, and the price is like $56 or like $78 or $80 or something like that. and they still have like about over 100 tickets available in each section. So it's like 1,000, probably around like 1,000 plus seats still available. And that theater in Madison Square Garden is not really, that big. And if you're not gonna have a versus tied to it, then they ain't gonna go for. I don't think they're gonna go forward with it. But at this point, it's going to be over a year since Lopez has been able to defend any of those titles, and with this being a mandatory, they're going to have to. I don't know. Maybe the IBF may have to say something and say, "Hey, y'all going to have to go forward with this fight, or he's going to have to, forfeit that title." And Teofimo Lopez did say at one point that he pretty much doesn't have much of a problem, vacating that belt. So why don't they just go ahead and do that?
Yeah, because Triller also, they tried to move it, but TL and even IBF, everybody said no, they're not moving it.
Yeah, they tried to move it from this October 4th date to October 16th, and Lopez said that he ain't with it. IBF pretty much is saying they ain't with it, so it's either gonna be October 4th or bust, basically. Either you had that or you don't necessarily have a fight. So, and that's gonna be I think that's not. It would be messy all around the board because, like, shoot, Teofimo Lopez had a $4 million plus guarantee off this. Cambosis had like 1.2, $1.3 million guarantee off this, and here we are, and it's probably gonna go all up in smoke.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen either.
Yeah, we all see, man. I might be around that area in those days leading up. So who knows? We'll see how that kind of like shapes out. But yeah, in the meantime, that's pretty much it as far as what I got here for the midweek report. Pretty much be seeing if we'll be back at it for Sunday. We try to go Sunday live here on YouTube here for boxing discussion, weekly boxing discussion. They'll end up, being on iTunes and everything like that. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Thanks for everybody for joining in this particular conversation, and we'll get back at it here next time. All right, peace out, everybody.